Madam Vijayalakshmi M.N. Bhavi, President of today's Endowment lecture function. My friend Professor Gopal, the Director, the faculty members of this Center for Multidisciplinary Development Research, Dharwad, invitees, faculty, and student friends. In fact, when Professor asked me to visit this institution, I was pleased to accept the invitation because I heard about this institute but never visited. So I thought it is an opportunity for me to come see and interact with the students. And when he asked about the topic, I always prefer to tell something about my field, what is happening in the agriculture field, in the context of many running issues, relevant issues. I requested him to give opportunity for me to speak on this issue, and he really has accepted. One pleasant sharing is, he is son-in-law of Bagalkot, where I work as a dean. His father-in-law is a very thorough gentleman and very pro-people activity he is doing in Bagalkot, Malana. He popularly, affectionately called him as dean. Today, I have decided to speak on this particular issue, Indian agriculture in the context of G20 presidency. I am going to divide this topic into two parts. One is Indian agriculture. First, we shall throw some light what is Indian agriculture as on today. Then, what best we can get from G20, what relevance or what remedies we can expect from G20, being the president of this particular summit. Friends, as you are aware, the agriculture, the most important profession, and as of now, the modern agriculture has a history of 6,000 to 8,000 years. When you speak of agriculture, we should realize how much the India has been endowed by the nature. The position of India as far as agriculture is concerned. We are very lucky in the sense that India is one country of 243 countries from 6 continents. Of course, we see 194 countries in the Manorama book, everything. They are member of United Nations, but the countries are 243. Out of these 243 from 6 continents, India is the only country which receives sunlight for a period of nearly 308 to 310 days in a year of 365 days. It's the only country which receives bright sunshine. In addition to this, we have a definite rainy seasons, pre-monsoon, monsoon, rabi monsoon. And no country enjoys this type of regular monsoons, sunshine. In addition to this, the beauty of India is, it is endowed with 46 out of 60 soil types existing in the entire world, and 15 major climates within this country. That is the reason why India is called as a subcontinent. In addition to this, we can add many things. So many languages, caste, celebrations, food habit, clothing, worshipping, whatnot. So God has given this natural resource to this country. And in fact, when we discuss many things about today's agriculture, the plus side and minus side of what has happened after independence, I would like to share a story which insulted the agricultural scientists, the policymakers during 1950s and even 60s, when Pandit Nehru took over the reins of this country as a Prime Minister. He was also a bit worried about the Great Bengal famine and subsequent famines which occurred in this country. after separation of India based on religion, Pakistan and India, India faced many problems. Very good fertile of land went to Pakistan. Some industries related to that particular crop like jute, they remained in India. In addition to this, population of 35 crores facing acute shortage of food. There was a request from the government of India to USA. The proposal was discussed in the American Congress. Harry Truman was president of USA at that time. When the proposal was read out in the Congress, he said there is no difficulty in extending this gesture to India, but I want the full support of this entire house, like that he has told. And many people were not in favor of India. They never liked India siding with Russia. And instead of telling that, they told many other reasons. Added to this, a very bad remark by the Sabhapati of American Congress, Mr. Shyam Rebel. He asked, why you want wheat from America only? Why can't you have wheat from your neighbor Pakistan, which has grown a lot of wheat and they are very near to you? Like that he has asked. And at that time, India was facing even the foreign exchange problem. So, USA was not convinced about the genuinity of India's proposal. When it was not accepted overwhelmingly, Pandit Nehru sent his own sister who was ambassador to US, Vijayalakshmi Pandit Madam. When she heard the same thing, she asked Mr. Harry Truman and even Shyam Rebel, it is your privilege. If you want, you can give. Otherwise, no issue. But don't talk so loosely about India. Why you are asking us to buy wheat from Pakistan? And why you have narrated altogether a different view that India is not ready to buy a wheat grown by Muslims? She told him in a befitting words, India has more Muslims than the Muslims of Pakistan. We are living like brothers and sisters. We don't want your wheat, hell with your wheat. She rejected these words. Then America considered everything from all angles. Then under a public law, PL 480, that was the 480th law passed by the US Congress. Under that, India could get about 10 millions of wheat during the span of 3 years through ships. At that time it was called as ship to mouth. That means only when ship reaches India, we should get wheat for making chapatis. And even this very issue bothered so much by the subsequent rulers also after Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri. He also thought something should be done. The insult which India faced in American Congress bothered so much of the administrators and everybody. Shastri ji discussed this matter with C. Subramaniam, who was advisor to the government of India. Then after Shastri, Shastri is known for his simplicity as well as he gave a call to the entire nation to observe 1 day of starvation on Monday to save the food. It was his simplicity and his noble. Then when the issue of meeting the food for ever increasing population came, we should remember Mrs. Gandhi took a very bold decision, and the government of India decided to import 18,000 of high-yielding varieties of wheats from Mexico, wheat, Manila, rice. So many experts across the world questioned Mrs. Gandhi, Madam, what you are doing this? Are you aware of the consequences of these wheats when they enter into Indian territory? They cautioned about the weeds, likely weeds, insects, pathogens, all those things. Madam was so stubborn. She told, I don't bother about anything. I want to feed my nation first. India cannot be called a nation if it cannot meet the 2 square meals of its citizens. Whatever may be the difficulty, I am ready to face all those things. I have decided I am going to buy the seeds from Mexico and money. Friends, and this triggered the revolution, what we call as Green Revolution. The Green Revolution was the first word coined by William Gutt of USA. He coined this word and he gave the definition also, what is meant by Green Revolution. The phenomenal increase in the total production of wheat and rice in Indian subcontinent and neighboring countries. And a person to be remembered, Norman Borlaug, who helped India a lot. He visited India and he encouraged Swaminathan, he encouraged Subramanian, even the Jagjivan Ram. So India achieved self-sufficiency in food during late 60s, 68, 69. Now, from the status of begging bowl, India is having the status of a country which can export enough food grains to hungry nations of the world. And this achievement is not a small achievement as far as the country's well-being is concerned. And we should remember Mrs. Gandhi for her bold decision of inviting criticism, everything, and she did a lot. And that's why people used to refer Mrs. Gandhi as, in Kannada what we say, Indira Samputadalli avadu obbale gandasu. The only man among the Indian cabinet. So she was so bold enough. I want to tell this, why people were afraid of getting seeds from outside country. Though India, I told, blessed with good climate, rainy season, soil type, food habits. So God has given these gifts to India. At the same time, He has given 3 enemies, inbuilt enemies to India. Inbuilt enemies of agriculture we can call. The number 1 enemy is weed, what we call Kannada, in Kannada is Kadekodi. The second one is insect, Keterodu. The third one is pathogens, Roganu. And these 3 inbuilt enemies are troubling like anything the Indian agriculture. Nearly 33% of the yield loss in Indian agriculture is attributed to the weeds itself. The weeds are capable of giving shelter to the insects and pathogens during the absence of the host plant. And they compete with the crop for sunshine, moisture, light, then nutrient, space, whatnot. So the struggle of Indian agriculture is to manage these 3 inbuilt enemies. So when India achieved food sufficiency after Green Revolution, we should have thought for a while, because the phenomenal increase was on account of high-yielding varieties, fertilizers, chemicals, mechanization, the very favorable policies of the government of India, and then active participation of extension officials, the policies of the government, and the great hard work of farmers. So this type of phenomenal increase in wheat and rice has really made India self-sufficient in food front, in front of the whole world. Now we can have a very much high-level privilege. Though the country's population has reached 140 crores, 1.4 billion, we don't have any dearth of food grains. Even if it reaches 160 crores, there is no problem as far as food grain is concerned. Friends, I told in the beginning itself, India has so many privileges. For example, India has a geographical area of 329 million hectares. Of these 329 million hectares, 142 million hectares is a cultivable area, proportionate to geographical area and cultivable area. In the world, the average is 11%, but we have 43% of the geographical area cultivable area. That is the major strength of us. Then different soil types, favoring the bumper yield of so many crops like wheat, rice, sugarcane, whatnot. India is a country, you can say with pride that in the whole world, whatever is grown, it is there in India. But same is not true with whatever we have, it cannot be found in other countries. I tell you why we are lucky as far as this phenomena of agriculture than the food front is concerned. When we compare our nation with the another nation, I just ascertain myself how lucky we are. During my postdoctoral study, I went to Canada. The Canadian geographical area is 3 times the Indian geographical area. 3 times. But when the population issue is observed, you will be puzzled to know the population of Canada is, ours is 140 now. The population of Canada now is half the population of Karnataka. Just 3.5 crores. Because of harsh climate. For 6 months they never see the face of sun. Always drizzling. Cloudy atmosphere. -2, -3 very common. And they have the privilege of growing only few crops in selected areas. Like mustard, wheat, in selected areas of Canada. You just imagine how lucky we are. We can grow crop in pre-monsoon season, short duration crops, monsoon, then rabi season. If you have irrigation during summer also, you can put the land under crops. So this is the beauty of Indian agriculture. And the ICAR, the apex body of agricultural educational system in India, like UGC for General University, it is for agriculture university. ICAR has given a very positive hope or even belief that we can produce another 250 million tons of food from the same area of agriculture. Same area. For example, if we are able to increase the nutrient efficiency, major nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, the efficiency is just 30 to 50% in case of nitrogen, which is the nutrient consumed by plants in a very large proportion. Then comes phosphorus, just 15 to 20% efficiency. Then potassium, 55 to 60%. Even by doing some efforts to improve the nutrient efficiency from the same 143 million hectares of land, we are capable of producing another 30 million tons of food grains. Another 30 million tons of food grains. Then comes the most precious resource, that is water. If we can improve the efficiency of water by way of most precise irrigation methods like sprinkler, then drip irrigation, that means using the same water for more and more area. What our beloved Prime Minister has called more crop per drop. In that context, we have also come out with very beautiful narration that India can produce another 30 million tons if we improve the water efficiency. Then very lightning, that means very positive and still better than this is, if we can improve the soil conditions of India, what the government of India has done after this Modi's regime, soil health card system, to know about the health of soil. So this soil health care and amendment, if it is alkaline, if it is acidic, there are stipulated methods to rectify those deficiencies or disorders. We can produce another 40 million tons of food. 40 million tons. Another thing, India is facing some problem with farmers. They won't grow the crop as per the localization pattern of the command areas. Suppose Upper Krishna is an irrigation project of North Karnataka in Gulbarga and part of Bijapur. We have not recommended a crop like paddy to grow in Upper Krishna command area. But they ask very politely, tell us the other crop which can give the equal yield or profit compared to paddy. We don't have right now. So this localization pattern, that means putting the crop recommended for the area under command area, we can get nearly another 30 million tons. And very beautiful thing is, when we introduce this green revolution concept of hiding varieties, hybrids, now the beauty issues have come, the GM crops, etc. The issue of getting another 120 million tons we can expect from the areas which gave the highest yield when the new technology was introduced. That means regaining the productivity levels of all the command areas in India. 120 million tons can be added. That means that 250 million tons of food grains can be added to the present day, the record production of 314 million tons. This year we have produced 314 million tons of food. It's a record. And another matter of happiness is the horticulture sector, occupying just 18% of the area, has bypassed the agriculture production. It is 343 million tons. India is known for horticulture crops, especially we are second to the entire world in production of vegetables, fruits, then flowers, medicinal plants, aromatic plants, all those things. So this is the strength of India as far as agriculture is concerned. We have to exploit the natural gift given by the nature to the Indian agricultural sector. Now, everybody says that Indian agriculture is at crossroads. And the criticizers of modern technology always blame us that you have spoiled the soil health, environment. And many people take freedom to say that we are just consuming the poison along with the grain. My friends, as a person from agriculture, it is my prime duty to convince you people. Apart from all those things, I want to emphasize the location of India on the planet Earth. 88% of the Indian geography comes under tropical weather, bright sunshine, high temperature. This high temperature has so many good things to favor agriculture. At the same time, small disadvantages are also there. But this type of climate, then that type of rains, variety of soils, and capability of growing any type of crops. I will tell one more thing, how nature is kind enough towards mankind, not only India, for the entire mankind. The mankind has identified nearly 3,000 species as edible species. That means we can consume them as a source of food. Then, out of these 3,000 species, throughout the world, 150 species are extensively cultivated. And funny thing is, out of this 150, just 18 to 19 species are capable of feeding 90% of the population of the world. And those 19 includes your rice, wheat, maize, sorghum, bajra, millets, pulses, wine. So this is the beauty of Indian agriculture. We can produce anything, and of course we admit that our per hectare productivity is low compared to the same of the world average or even the countries who have excelled in the production of similar commodity. For example, I tell you, in one of the meetings when I was in the discussion with farmers, the American farmers are harvesting maize at the rate of 100 quintals per acre. 100 quintals, that is 250 quintals per hectare. Farmers asked with furious eyes, "Sir, what is the type of maize they are growing? Whether it is under the same that what we are growing or something else like that? No? Same hybrid, same climate, same sun, same water, same nutrient, everything same. But the way in which they are growing is altogether different." When I went to USA, I asked my head to take me to a farmer's field who is growing maize crop. I wanted to see, I was very curious. And then I went to the field. I was puzzled to see the scenario. You can't find even a blade of weed in the entire field. One year, kaddi kuda kaantiraliಲ್ಲ. Just clean. Then population, how many plants per hectare? It was 100%. And the germination of this maize crop in the neighboring field, I could observe, very uniform. That means all the seeds were kept at a depth where the favorable moisture regime was identified. So then the uniform growth, uniform germination, then everything was uniform. When the crop is uniform, the menace from insect and pathogens was drastically reduced by weed-free environment first, then 100% population, then uniform growth. They could harvest 100 quintals per acre. Then farmers were convinced. In Karnataka is leading state in the entire country. We have reached 50 quintals per acre. No other state has reached 50 quintals. Karnataka has a unique climatical features, especially for horticulture. Karnataka can even be a model for the entire country. Late Dr. D.M. Nanjundappa, an eminent economist and planning expert, identified a unique place called Bagalkot for establishment of horticulture university. Really, horticulture, animal husbandry, together they are making the Indian agriculture very sound. The contribution from agriculture sector is coming day by day to a lower quantity. It was 50%, rightly pointed out by Basab Prabhu. Now it is just 15, 16, it's just within that range. The industry and service sectors are producing more than this sector. When we got independence, those sectors were weak. Agriculture was predominant. So now you can just visualize the animal husbandry, horticulture contributes nearly 40% of the GDP of agriculture. That means the horticulture and animal husbandry can meet the aspirations of the farmers even during drought years. And we are working out the integrated models for different districts. For Dharwad, you grow this combination of agriculture, horticulture, forest species, then water species. Then animal component, you can have sheep, goat, rabbit, even pig, whatnot. We have many things. Then you can have birds like poultry, pigeon, so many manageable species. Then you have the wealth of microorganisms, which can contribute a lot for the mankind. Rhizobium, Azotobacter, Azospirillum. They fixes atmospheric nitrogen, which is abundant in nature, 78%. But no other plant can get it directly because these microorganisms can fix the nitrogen with help of one beautiful enzyme called nitrogenase. So they fixes the atmospheric nitrogen, add to the fertility of the soil. Then comes the phase of agriculture, I told the crossroad agriculture. Whether the soils have been degraded by use of fertilizers. Many people talk on this. Excess use of fertilizers has made the Indian soils to get degraded. I don't agree. We are not using excess fertilizers. We are not using even half of the other countries which are using. Our average use of fertilizer is 114 to 125 kg per hectare, which is high in Punjab, Haryana, UP. Then other state it is low. But when you go to other country like Germany, France, their per hectare usage of this nutrient is 400 to 550 kg per hectare. The issue is we are not using excess fertilizer, we are using imbalanced fertilizers. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, the three major nutrients to be supplied by mankind for production of any crops, apart from carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, which are supplied by nature through air and water. So these three major nutrients, when we are capable of getting, I will quote an example. A farmer who was growing 4 bags per acre paddy, now he is harvesting 40 bags from the same 1 acre of land. From where does the productivity comes? I tell you with all courage, confidence that 50% of the enhancement in food grade has come from fertilizers. And plant cannot or never differentiate whether the nutrient I am getting has come from inorganic or organic source. It never differentiates because it absorbs the nutrient in ionic form. When ionic form is available, it just picks up. And to make it very simpler, when I used to discuss with farmers, I told, you are under wrong impression. Any chemical, whether it is weedicide, insecticide, fungicide or herbicide, applied to the soil in the Indian climatic condition, which is tropical, 88%, get degraded. Within 35 to 40 days, it reaches the lowest value. Had it been the case of a residual effect going through the seeds at alarming level, hazardous level, why the population has increased from so many crores to 140 crores now? The lifespan has been increased. People who are talking ill of these chemicals should take a different view now. Now there is a need to educate our farmers to use the balanced fertilizers, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash. Now, I tell you the food basket of this country, Punjab, Haryana, Western UP and part of Rajasthan. 44 districts are contributing more to the total food production of this country. And we have exploited the fertility, irrigation, favorable climate, hard efforts of the farmers, and we are not in a position to explore those areas further. Now we have to have increased production from all the area of food. That's why Dr. Swaminathan has told, green revolution, okay, now we should have evergreen revolution. Forever it should be there to increase the food production in proportion with increase in population. Fortunately, the food production is at higher rate compared to the population. When I say population, I would like to share a very amazing fact how this population has reached 800 crores in the world today. India 140, world 800. To reach the first 100, it took lakhs of years. 100 crore population from the 6 continents. For the next 100 to 200, it took just 130 years. From the 200 to 300, it just took 33 years. From 300 to 400, it took 14 years. 400 to 500, 13 years. Now, at the rate of every 10 years, we are getting another 100 added. At this rate of population growth, without using this technology, science and technology is must for development of any nation. And our Prime Minister has rightly stated that we have the paramparagat krishi like organic agriculture, natural agriculture. Yes, they have their own positive aspects. At the same time, they have some negative aspect. In that context, the G20. Now comes the real picture. In India, we have farmers owning just less than 1 acre of land. Their percentage is 40. ಪ್ರತಿಶತ 40ರಷ್ಟು ರೈತರು 1 ಎಕರೆಗಿಂತ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಜಮೀನು ಓನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. And they are owning the land to the extent of just 3.5% of the total land available. Then comes the marginal. We call them as sub-marginal, less than 1 acre. Marginal is 1 acre to 2.5 acre, 1 hectare. And their strength is about 20%. And they are owning land to the extent of 13%. Then comes small farmer, 1 hectare to 2 hectare. And their land is up to 5 acres, 2 hectares. The sub-marginal, marginal small farmers, their entire representation is 75%. Sorry, yes, 75%. But the land owned by this group is just 33%. So whatever we think as a tool from science and technology, we should think of this group, small and marginal farmers, and landless are around 11%. 11%, they are not having any land. So for this small, marginal and sub-marginal farmers, now we have identified with continuous research in Dharwad Agriculture University, natural farming for marginal farmers, having less than 1 hectare of land. Because they can get whatever is required for production, like source of nutrient like Bijamrit, Jivamrit, all those things. We don't deny their importance, we don't deny. They can think of producing their crops from their limited land using these resources. I tell you, we have tried to grow the crops of Haveri district using these methods: natural farming, organic farming, chemical farming, then integrated farming. One thing I got concluded that from nutrient aspect, the natural farming can meet the nutrient requirement of short duration crops, hard crops, less nutrient requiring crops like millets, Chidanand, they can be grown without any hassle. So let the farmers think of using natural farming for growing crops which are very short duration, 75 to 80 days, less nutrient requiring crops, then very hard crops with less moisture they can complete their life cycle. Then comes the small farmers. For them, we have identified organic farming as the best option because they can meet the nutrient requirement through vermicompost, compost, crop residues, crop rotation, intercropping, whatnot, human waste, animal waste. This is part. Then we try to grow the same crop using the source of nutrient only chemical fertilizers. Then the integration of organic and inorganic. The excellent results were from integrated approach. Then chemical farming. I tell you, you can just tell to the farmers who have come across with this issue with you. For example, I told the example of maize. To produce 50 quintals of maize from 1 acre, we have to apply 60 kg of nitrogen, 30 kg of phosphorus and 15 kg of potassium. For applying 1 kg of nitrogen, you have to apply 2 quintals of F1 quantity. We can't get that much of organic manure for meeting the requirement of all crops. Think of this 140 million hectares, 314 million tons. That means its potential is restricted to few crops. And chemically, when you apply 30 kg, 15 kg and 50 kg of NPK, where you are applying for 1 hectare of land, 1 acre of land. In our agriculture science, 1 acre of land soil, scientifically we weigh it. 1 square meter we weigh, taking the effective root zone. It is approximately 8 lakh kgs 1 acre soil. So you are applying 30 kg, 15 kg and 50 kg for 8 lakh kg of soils. That too, it is absorbed by the plant. Some is wasted through fertilization, some is leaching, some is going through water runoff. Where is the residue effect? Very minimum. Very minimum. And our body has got that strength to counteract the residue effect of these nutrients. We call that a particular phenomenon, resisting this entry of poisonous things to the body. We have that ability. Tropical people only have that ability. So there is no question of ill effect of fertilizer if it is used in balanced form. No, nothing to worry. Even weedicides, many talk about these things. Insecticide, fungicide. If they are applied at right time, right method, right quantity, right number of times, absolutely there is no harm. You can see, you can hear all India radio broadcast program like Chidanand. They tell, they give answer to the queries of farmers. ಕಳೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದು ಬಿತ್ತನೆಗಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಹೊಡಿ, ನಂತರ ಕಳೆ ಹತೋಟಿ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ 30 ದಿವಸ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಹೊಡಿರಿ. That means within that 30 days, whatever you have applied has gone. So such is the reality. And our Honorable Prime Minister has been convinced about the natural farming where it can be applied, organic farming where it can be educated, chemical farming where it can be proposed, and the integrated farming. Shortly we are going to present our data to the Honorable Prime Minister from natural farming. So it has its own beauty. Think that everything has plus side and minus side. If plus sides are 51%, we have to accept it. Ignore 49% of the bad things. So the principle of democracy, what we. So this is in a nutshell about the Indian agriculture as of now. And every farmer is free to practice, and there is no law to regulate. You have to go for natural farming only, but you can do that so that they are attracted by the support of the government to practice natural farming, organic farming, chemical farming, intensive farming. So I will quote one example. A farmer practicing natural farming in Kundgul Taluk, I liked his hard work and other things. I made up myself to buy a cow, desi cow, and donate it to him. I was so happy, so happy. Sir, no professor has came forward to come to my field, share his ideas, and even the resource like cow. That means our farmers are really wonderful farmers are there. And they are much better than a PhD holder of the universities. I learned many things from the farmers. I learned with lot of confidence, I can say. And many farmers we have identified. From Bijapur, we identified one farmer, Mallana Nagra, who is capable of harvesting bumper crop even if it rains once in the entire rainy season. Pakka leveled land. He has a mechanism to allow the water to stagnate for 2 days, then allow the excess water to drain. Takes up sowing at appropriate time. Even during droughtest years, he could harvest 7 to 8 quintals of jowar. I took farmers to his field, interact with Mallana, and many people accept it. Sir, wonderful work he is doing. Then why can't you do? No, sir, this is the beauty of another group of farmers. And especially, I tell you with all frank, many people talk of the modern technology versus the earlier traditional agriculture. I don't have any bad remark to pass on the natural farming or organic farming. But you have to believe in one thing. Whatever we get from the nature, it has some duration. After that, it has to be lost. And at the same time, you have to use in optimum proportion. In Kannada, what we say, Amrutana Vishaya. So it actually applies to the agriculture. If you go by the right crop, right time of sowing, then approaches. And I tell my media friends always, they write when monsoon gets delayed by a week or fortnight, this year altogether different year. Then they write, Mungaru Vilamba, Raita Kangaru. In paper they write. Banner headlines, crossing from column 1 to column last. I told, why you are writing farming community? Kangal aage bitra. Hoge bidta, life hota. Yakang baritiri? Right, don't worry, we have different crops. Different crops of different duration. We have alternate technology. Nothing to worry. That should be the inspiration, confidence we have to build. So this type of approach is needed now. We value all the traditional knowledge of farmers with utmost devotion. There is no doubt about that. So this is what I wanted to tell about the Indian agriculture today. Nothing to worry about population, nothing to worry about the future days, all those things. India is capable of leading the whole nation, whole world now. About population, myself and yourself might have observed when we were going to school, we used to see a photo in front of hospital. ಒಂದು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಒಂದು ಗಂಡು ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಅದರ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಗಂಡು ಮಗು, ತಾಯಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಗು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂತಿದ್ದು, ತಲೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಸ್ಲೋಗನ್, 2 ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಬೇಕು, 3 ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಸಾಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಗೋ ಬಿಯಾಂಡ್ ತಿಳಿಯೋದು. ಲೇಟರ್ ಇದು ಹೋದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವಿಬ್ಬರು ನಮಗಿಬ್ಬರು. ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ವೇ ಆರತಿಗೊಂದು ಕೀರ್ತಿಗೊಂದು ಆರತಿ ತರ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು ಬೇರೆ. ದೆನ್ ಕೇಮ್ ನಾವಿಬ್ಬರು ನಮಗೊಬ್ಬರು. ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಗಂಡು ಭೇದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. People are worried. They are very much bold enough to have a decision-making attitude. Now the recent generation, ನಾವಿಬ್ಬರು ನಮಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರು ಬೇಡ ಬೇಡ If such be the attitude of our father, his father, I think you can think what would have happened. So it is the nature's law, and we have to do all struggle with help of our efforts, then traditional knowledge and science. When we go by optimal mixture of these things, there is no doubt about India's prosperity. Now coming to this G20, how best we can harness, being the president, the India's presidency from December 1st, 2022, our Honorable Prime Minister took over it from Indonesia. The entire agenda has been set by the government of India because it is presiding the G20 nations. The beauty of this G20, I tell you, it has a representation from all the 6 continents. Asia, about 7 countries, including India, China, Japan, Turkey, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia. Then from Northern America, which we call it as developed continent. Canada we have, Mexico, USA. From Europe we have UK and European Union, both. From Australia we have Australia alone. From South Africa we have South Africa. These 20 nations, I tell you, why this is so important. I have given you the bird eye view, how the world thought of forming such type of organization. The first G6 summit and the ultimate formation of G20 was during 1999 when the Asian financial situation was viewed and the entire group, which was led by the finance ministers and the central bank governors, they took a decision to have more broader type of forum to address such issues. So then came the G20. We have such organizations, BRICS we have, and day before yesterday, I think 2-3 days back our Prime Minister attended BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China. And I tell you one thing, out of this 243 or 194 nations, no country, however developed it may be, can remain in isolation. No, even America cannot remain in isolation. It has to bend its head for certain things with country like India. For spices, they have to depend on it. India has to depend on USA for war weapons. So I tell you very aptly the thinking of a great person called Confucius, when he was asked by his followers, if the state or nation has to be run with law and order, peace, prosperity, what are the things required? He told, enough war weapons to safeguard the interest of all the citizens in the border. Next on the Shisha. Then enough buffer stock of food grains in the Godowns to meet the contingencies like drought, flood, tsunami, COVID, whatnot. Next, he wanted some better answer than these two, the Shishya. Then he asked, he told the Guru, a mechanism or a system wherein there should be a mutual trust. The government should trust its citizens. The citizens should trust the government. The citizens should trust among themselves. And that is the essence of G20. And G20, I tell you, it represents 90% of the world GDP. 20 nations represents 90% of the world GDP. Then 80% of the global investment. 80% of the global investment. Then 66% of the world population is from these 20 nations. And 75% of the world trade is these countries. Then you can imagine the role what we are playing as a president. How it's going to help us? It's going to help us to request all the developed nations like USA, UK, Canada, Australia. Then they have coined a different word. Earlier India used to be referred as developing nations. Now they have coined a different word like emerging nation. underdeveloped, emerging, developed. And India is the fastest growing and the largest economy of the world now, fifth largest economy. Days are not far off. Within another 5 to 7 years, we are going to be the number 3 economy. Thereafter, if we can produce whatever I told, another 250 million tons, with proper understanding between the member nations. For example, I told about the organic farming. We have about 37 to 38% of the world organic farmers are from India. About 2.5% of the world organic area is from India. And nearly 17 lakh tons produced we are getting from organic farming. No doubt it is healthy. It is healthy because the whatever nutrient we apply, FYM, residue, compost, human waste, animal waste, it contains all the required nutrients which are required by the plants, what we call as essential nutrients. Their number is around 17. From urea you apply only nitrogen. From DAP you apply only nitrogen and phosphorus. Potash you apply only muriate of potash. Then complex fertilizers are the most 3. So India has now reached a stage, farmers who are growing 1 crop in a year are capable of growing 2. Who were capable of growing 2, now they are capable of growing 3 crops. Who is having irrigation, they can think of 4 crops. That means a farmer having 10 acres of irrigated land, he can think that he is cultivating 40 acres of land. With precision agriculture, what we use precisely, water, nutrient, then all the operations precisely. In one of the PhD class, when I told a story of successful farmer, my PhD students were so eagerly asking. I told the example of a farmer from Chennai in neighboring Bangalore, Tamil Nadu district. A farmer called Chinnaswamy. He told in his success story that he could get nearly 8 lakh rupees net profit from 1 acre. And he has paid the income tax for that, wherever it was applicable. My students asked, which was the crop he has grown? He has grown brinjal. The students were so curious. Sir, that was the assumption. Then I told, why can't we go to Chandragiri? They were so pleased. And I requested my vice chancellor to take my students to Chandragiri. As MANSUR, it is a very good approach. You go to Chandragiri, take the university bus. We went to Chandragiri. Farmer hosted a wonderful breakfast. Then came with presentation through PowerPoint. Chinnaswamy. And he took us in the field. Brinjal, the variety which he was growing, used to give the harvest for nearly 8 to 10 months. Frequent harvestings. That variety. And taste was so good. Our students, when asked Chinnaswamy, can we eat one brinjal? No. Instead of lunch, you can eat brinjal only. So students enjoyed the taste. And he told, why he could get this much? Because I am applying the nutrients required by that crop at different stages. I am applying the pesticide, pesticide through irrigation water, the fertigation what we call. So when our students got the entire figures, brinjal grown by a farmer in Dharwad, brinjal grown by Chinnaswamy, different mechanisms he has adopted for 1 acre, cost, then the contacts he has established with other nations. There comes the role of the country. An assured market for his type of brinjal. Saudi Arabia is one country which is ready to buy his brinjal at any rate. They are very rich. And Saudi Arabia is one such nation which is having the 3rd largest trade transaction with India. And please put the next slide. Slide. Remote again.
Slide more.
I was telling you about these things. Have a look of the beautiful representation of these 20 nations. 19 plus 1, European Union. I have written the nations which are under European Union. And this is the beauty of the nations which are participating in G20, I told they are all from all the 6 continents. World biggest economy, USA is there. Next economy, China is there. India is there. And other economies like Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Russia, Brazil, Mexico, and all those countries, you can see that whatever decision is going to be taken by G20, the declaration of G20 is going to help us a lot, because it decided, the G20 member nations have decided to have inclusive discussions, then decisions based on consensus, not by majority. Sarva Sammatvada Abhipraya Tavadu. Even there is an opposition from one country, no, drop it. You can think of the other issue like that. So this is the beauty of the G20 summit, G20 nations. And after India, Brazil is going to take the charge of this summit. Brazil is like exactly Indian conditions. They are competing with us in sugarcane, coffee. We are trying to grow a sugarcane which is having more recovery for every 100 quintals of sugarcane, or 1 ton of sugarcane. How much is the recovery? For every 100 kg, the highest recovery in the entire world is 11%. 100 kg ka 11 kg sakre barutte. And this highest record is from Karnataka, Sankeshwar Sugar Factory. So now farmers are getting 100 tons per acre, capable of growing 100 tons of sugarcane from 1 acre because of modern methods, nutrient supply mechanism, irrigation, plant protection, whatnot, etc. Then next is you can see the growth leader in the growth trajectory of G20 nations, GDP growth rate. You just concentrate on India. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 and average. No country or the world bodies have not estimated the growth to the tune of Indian growth rate, that is 7%. So we have many things to expect from the member nations to buy our product at reasonable price. Then with ease of doing business, that comes only when all the 20 nations accept each other's proposals. And the highest trade what India is doing is with US. Next comes China. Next comes Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, then Turkey. So this type of arrangement can be had only if we have an effective mechanism like G20. BRICS is there. Then similarly SAARC was another organization, India was a member. So mutual trust leads to mutual development. And what the entire world is visualizing, the leadership of our Prime Minister, leadership of India for that matter. Because in Kannada there is a proverb, money is one net together, ella proverb. And people are appreciating the decisions of Indian government with respect to natural farming, organic farming, chemical farming, and the government of India never opposed any concept. The government of India has proposed a project called Paramparagat Krishi. Farmers, come here, take this. Then we are telling the government, for farmer practicing natural farming, give one desi cow at subsidized rate, not free. Not free at any time to anybody. Then evolve a mechanism for certification of each product that it is natural. Then identify a country among the 20 nations who are going to buy our product. That is with ease of doing business. So that is possible by this forum, world most effective mechanism, and they are considering agriculture, trade, then fiscal policies and financial policies, and even foreign exchange rate, then action against fugitive economic offenders. Then they have evolved a mechanism to catch hold of them and recover from their assets in this country. If it's going to happen in real terms, I think Indian government can really can get lot of things by recovering by sale of those culprits who have made so many of halla with Indian nationalized banks. So what I want to tell is G20 is a unique and the biggest forum for a country like India, which is capable of growing almost all types of crops, especially millets. Now the entire world has accepted that they are the most nutritious cereals. Earlier they were not considered. When we used to eat the rice out of navane, baduru anta lekka ittu. Our mane lekki anna srimantu. Now trend is this. And especially millets, we have to identify the districts, taluks and hublis which can produce very good millet crop. And there is a lot of scope for the farmers to earn a lot from these crops which matures within 75 days. And even if you grow in dry conditions, they can give some good yield. And with whatever little moisture, it is possible. So G20 can give such opportunities for all the member nations. Indian spices can get a very good demand. And similarly coffee and Indian tea and some medicinal herb plants which other country cannot grow because of the climatic restrictions. You can see the beauty of India. Jammu and Kashmir can grow apple, but it cannot grow basal. Apple ಬೆಳಿತಾನೆ ನಾವು ಸಜ್ಜೆ ಬೆಳೆಯಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಿಜಾಪುರದವ ಸಜ್ಜೆ ಬೆಳಿತಾನೆ ಎಕರೆಗೆ 15 ಕ್ವಿಂಟಲ್, but he cannot grow apple. That is the beauty of Indian climate. That's why I told in the beginning, we are the luckiest people having taken birth in this country. Can have so much of food for our livestock, for our other animals, and I want to emphasize that India is going to get very good declaration from the G20 summit, which is going to be held in Delhi, 8th, 9th. I am going to attend that, and I want to have some discussions with the relevant people, especially from Karnataka. We have identified one beautiful wing in Haveri. The farmers who are growing all 9 types of cereals. Chidanand are major jola, ragi, such a. Now they are capable of exporting these products to other nations, and they are getting a lot of appreciation and good price also. So if this is going to happen within 75 to 80 days, a farmer can get very good income. Their life standard can be improved. So these are the things what I wanted to share with you. Agriculture, G20 and other some related issues. If you have any clarification, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Whatever little I know, I can tell you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful lectures. Best lecture and thank you.